Welcome to the Au Jus. I'm your host, Beef Loaf. This show is being sponsored by our friends, Punky's Pizza and Pasta, located at 2600 South Wallace, my personal favorite eatery in the neighborhood. They have the best selections of pizzas and pastas, as well as sandwiches and salads of any spot in Bridgeport. Currently, they have a terrific Monday. It's only special. 1 medium cheese pizza for $12.99. No promo codes, no minimums. Just place the order after 3 p.m. and you get 1 medium cheese pizza for $12.99. Toppings can be added, but at their normal prices. At the website, punkyspizza.com, for all your carryout or delivery needs, or to cater your next party. You can also call 312-842-2100. The Scarlotta family will take care of you. Punky's Pizza and Pasta. This show is also powered by you, the loyal 108 supporter. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Feel free to tickle the undercarriage in the process. Like, comment, turn on notifications, and most definitely super chat. That's how we get paid. It's how we continue to make the content you know and love. Tonight's guest is a part of the very elite West Coast contingent of White Sox Twitter. His 108 tourney voting videos are some of the most popular pieces of content created, other than his thirst traps that have the ladies on White Sox Twitter howling. Sox Optimist, welcome to the Au Jus, my friend. We made it happen, yes.
You were an absolute son of a bitch for using that photo.
Yes. How can I not use this?
Get that off my screen, man. I need that out of here.
You know what, though? I was pleasant too. I cut it up a little bit so they can't try to look at your salchicha in the picture. It's just abs up. So that's I played it safe there for you.
Terrific. Thanks. Yeah.
Well, I'm elated to have you on here. I actually, I've been wanting to have some of the West Coast contingent on. I want to have Larry on at some point but here's the thing with Larry, I got to do a lot of research. I was going to have my sister-in-law, who's an actress, do the interview because I'm like, I don't know all this shit, but I want to work on that stuff. Obviously, got a chance to meet Kurt. Antonio's awesome. Scott Garcia's my guy. They're like, people don't realize how much West Coast action there is in Sox Twitter.
You tell me you've never had Tom Paints on?
I have not had Tom Paints on. I met him. He came to a game and we met him at Cork and we were hanging out. The problem was then he got real into crypto stuff. And so he wasn't really doing Sox things. So I was like, well, we'll just back off a little bit there. But no, never had Tom Paints either, even though I met him. And he brought some of his work and was giving out some stuff to people. So yeah, I mean, people don't realize this is a strong contingent on the West Coast Optimist. I miss anybody? Is anyone I'm missing?
Yeah, I mean, you got on card Twitter, he's Red Batting Glove, but it's Jay Wagner. You had him in the 108 tournament this year.
Oh yeah, yep.
He pulled a wild move at the end to try to earn some votes and had a very phallic picture of himself with no pants on. That is not him, okay? He went off the deep end with that. I think you should invite him on. He's a very nice guy.
Okay. Sounds good. I like wild stuff. It's okay. That's nothing wrong with that. Well, anyway, before we get into some of the other hijinks, I want to talk some White Sox with you. And the White Sox are off to, I won't call it a surprising start because it's not. It's similar to what we thought. This team wouldn't be very good, but there are surprises contained within this start. And the White Sox are 4-11 as we hit this off day before they have a 3-game series against Oakland. The first thing I wanted to talk to you about is Shane Smith. Shane Smith, all of a sudden, has gotten hot in these White Sox Twitter streets. Optimist, are you a believer in Shane Smith and why?
It depends to the degree believer entails, right? So He probably grades out as like a top 25 starter in the game right now. I mean, he's hardly had anybody barrel him up. Yep. Do I think that's the case? Absolutely fucking not. No. Now, has he found money? Is he like a legitimate 4 or 5 starter? Probably. I mean, is it Eric Fetty all over again? Totally fine if so. My confusion with him is and maybe you can clear this up for me, is the plan, like I know the plan with Marty is to flip him. The plan with Clevenger was to flip him, although it's hard to imagine them ever contradicting their fucking loyalty to him.
That's incredible.
So is Shane Smith like an Eric Fetty essentially? Are we supposed to get some front half value out of this guy and flip him? Because I do think like the book is going to be out on him fairly soon, no?
Yeah, no, I don't think that is the case. I think the White Sox right now, you're right, Martin Perez, and with a few exceptions, the way Getz is handling this roster to a large degree is all the shit he can hold on to for as long as he can. That's why you see stuff like, Lenin Sosa's hanging around here. Even though you brought up Chase Meidroth, it's like, how many second basemen can you hold? Like that weird stuff. Or like a lot of people are like, just get rid of Jacob Amaya. But they're trying to make sure guys can play their own positions. Yes, this guy cannot hit, but let's have him cover shortstop, wherever. So they're doing a lot of weird. Miguel Vargas is like, has a 47 WRC plus. But so what? We're going to give him plate appearances. We got to see what we got. So they're trying to hold on to as many parts as they can and grabbing 2 Rule 5 guys, one of them being Shane Smith, the other one being Mike Vassell. That's just endemic of them trying to, like, let's grab as much stuff as we can. I think he's found money from the standpoint, Optimist, that, like, yeah, we weren't expecting this. We thought maybe this guy will catch on and be in the bullpen and throw an inning or 2 here or there. And then next thing you know, he's throwing the most innings on the White Sox so far. It's 17 2/3 innings. And respectable pitches, not just like, I mean, he is getting some BABIP block, but it's not just like he's faking his way through it. He's got 3 real pitches, it looks like.
That's true. Not really getting guys to chase, though. The chase metrics are not phenomenal. There's a few reasons to believe that a wall is coming. Part of it is what you talked about. He's throwing a shitload of innings. Has he ever done that in his fucking life? I'm not totally sure about that. For me, I mean, actually, I brought up Eric Fetty, dude. If you look at it's scientific, but sort of unscientific. Those baseball savant sliders, the red and blue sliders at the top of the page, that more or less just summarizes value in a broad. Him and Eric Fetty's page looks damn near identical. They're good at the same shit and bad at the same shit. They're getting nobody to chase, but they get great extension. They excel in these little micro areas. And I am very afraid that come July, Shane Smith is like the butt of a joke, dude. I love what I see right now. He fucking bad. His family seems pretty cool on Twitter, but I'm just a little bit scared.
So you are in the camp of he's having his Dylan Covey moment, and that the bottom may fall out of this sooner or later. I can see that in some ways too, especially because the fastball's not overwhelming. I mean, when in the relief role, he just throws harder. In the shorter, he can throw it harder. But I think he's averaging about 94 miles per hour, so it's not like an overwhelming fastball. And to get the separate, the changeup does look tremendous, though. I wonder if that ends up being a saving grace.
It's weird that guys aren't chasing that because it fucking falls out of the zone. I wonder if it's like he's throwing it in the wrong count, or maybe they're picking it up out of his hand. There could be a million different
maybe
things.
He's tipping it, right?
The way his changeup moves, wicked movement, is at odds with that chase rate that nobody's really chasing stuff.
Yeah, maybe you're right about that. Maybe they pick it up so quickly and they know swinging is going to be futile. So why going to let this fucking thing land wherever it lands? So
he's got a nice hook though, too. I agree with you about the pitch mix. It looks good. And damn, he's giving me every reason to believe, but it's so early. These sample sizes are so small. Like, I still think Jonathan Cannon has a real shot. I'm giving everybody the opportunity to play in like warm weather before I make any judgment. So it's hard to make a hard fall real hard on either side on Shane Smith quite yet,
Absolutely. I love it. Let's get to this drink. English Sox Colin says, Banning's ahead of the league with these changeups. Next year, half the league catches up. Maybe that's when he is less of an asset, as less unicorny. Maybe. Could be. Thank you, Colin. Appreciate you.
Totally true, man. All of a sudden, like, I'm a changeup head. There's been changeup porn for the last couple of years now coming from our rotation. It's awesome to watch.
Absolutely. Let's flip over to the other side. Let's go on the hitting side for a second. Chase Meidroth got promoted this past weekend. He's the next in a long line of these squatty, baseball-y guys. I heard a lot of people call him a dirt ball, and that's a positive thing for people who aren't real big baseball guys. Dirt ball is a good thing. You want to be that guy. He looks like the guy who played second base on your little league team, doesn't have a ton of power, makes a shit ton of contact, gets on base. Tell me why he's going to be different than the other versions of this Optimist and why he'll be a guy. Let
me tell you what else. He has a lot of other intangibles that non-baseball fans might not immediately notice. And I mean, there are great things about him. The reason to love him in the first place is his plate approach is something that our organization has deprioritized for the last 20 fucking years, probably beyond that. And his plate approach is like off the charts great. There are real scientific reasons to like him. I like him for very non-scientific reasons. Yes. His fucking look, man. And this has been backed up by his kaleidoscopic quotes that he's been giving to the media the last couple of days. And by that, I mean the driest answers you could possibly imagine. This dude is just born to roll out of bed and take the fucking field, man. He is never going to get in his own head. He is not giving Lucas Giolito answers, and no disrespect to Lucas Giolito, but this is not a dude who's going to find himself in a funk because he's overthinking it, because you look inside his brain and it is just like, it's the screensaver on your TV where you're waiting for it to like perfectly hit the corner. But it's just a fucking base. That's probably how his eye got so good, because it's just a baseball.
That's all there is. I mean, when he's getting called up, he's got his batting gloves on and the bat with him. Did they pull him out of the cage? Or was he just hanging around? Or was he just hanging around in the locker room? Like, I don't know.
Are you cutting me? And then the other thing too, dude, and like this, a lot of his value is going to hinge on him being able to find some power.
Yep.
I don't know, but you grew up playing ball, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, more basketball than baseball, but yes.
Really? No shit.
Yeah.
No, you're.
I'm 6'2". I'm so yeah. I mean, I could when I was a younger man, I could dunk a basketball. I played on some good De La Salle teams here on the South Side. I didn't start on them, but I played on some good teams.
Any footage out there of you dunking a basketball?
I doubt there is. There was no game footage of me doing that.
This is not meant for me to call you out. It's I want to fucking see that. You kidding me?
I wish I had.
My other thing with him, and it's an intangible, and I asked why you played because if you played, I probably hit 8 to 10 home runs in my life. I played into college. Wasn't a power hitter really. But did you hit many home runs growing up?
I was big, so yes, I did hit some home runs. I had a lot of swing and miss in my game.
Would you pimp them? You ever pimp home runs?
Only one.
Okay.
The only one that I can remember, yes.
I never pimped a dong. Once that ball came off the bat, I was fucking sprinting. I wasn't nothing.
You were going
there in terms of power. Chase Meidroth, and maybe this is a Charlotte thing, but I saw some dongs of his where he knew it right off the bat and he was taking it in. That to me suggests the power is real. Scientific, very much an intangible. But when a dude's pimping him like that, I don't know. I don't think it's fluky.
He knew he knew it. You know, I'm glad you brought this up, the Optimist, because this was where I was from the beginning. I was extremely out on Nick Madrigal because I thought there's 0% chance the power materializes. But when the Sox traded for Meidroth and just looking up some of his data and reading some of the scouting reports, I thought this is going to be 10 to 12 home runs at least. So you can make that profile work. You can make I have a great eye. And yeah, maybe some years he's going to have to hit 320 for this to look real good. And other years, yeah, he will draw enough walks. It was funny watching him over the weekend. Friday night, we're all jacked up. We're excited. We filmed the first plate appearance. He takes a walk. We're going berserk because he took a walk, And someone brought up Moncada took a walk in his, and we went nuts with that shit too. I remember no one had a plate approach like you mentioned, and Moncada comes up, looks like he understands it. And Meidroth ends up walking 3 times in that game, and we're like elated, and all of a sudden people are like, lead that motherfucker off tomorrow or whatever. But then he didn't draw another walk the rest of the weekend. And so you realize teams are going to battle back against this. They're going to make him hits. And I think there's enough pop there. There's enough bat to ball there where he'll be able to make it work. I think he'll be able to make it work.
Step 1 is figuring out what's the strike. Step 2 is punishing what is a strike. And it's all about figuring out step 2 for him, very much in the same vein as Miguel Vargas. He could be a rich man's Miguel Vargas. And I will say this might sound very gross to some people. He strikes me as a poor man's Moncada.
In a way.
He can't quite glove it like on healthy Moncada. Let's be fucking clear.
Yes.
But incredible plate discipline. Seems like he knows the strike zone better than the umpire.
Yep.
What he does with that, I mean, Moncada would swing through it a whole lot. It's going to depend what he does with that. He doesn't have quite the glove of Moncada, but you can move around the infield a little bit. I'm really excited for him, man. And again, I'm just so happy that the organization is prioritizing plate approach. I think it's like the root of all our problems.
Yeah, I totally agree. Treasy and I had a drunken conversation with someone inside the Sox org during Sox Fest, and they were just gushing about this guy. They really, everyone was thrilled to get him in the organization. So that's
if I may, real quick too, I often put a lot of stock into what former organizations say about a player that we're about to get. I heard a lot of Padres fans talking up Marty Perez from last year, and he's been fucking awesome. Yeah. He's been awesome. Thank God we got him. The way that Joey Cora was talking about Meidroth, I think he said something like, I guarantee from an on-field standpoint, fans are going to love him. Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome to hear.
We need it. And we need more of them guys. We need the real baseball-y guys, and we need a handful of those guys to glue it all up in there.
We need guys with very few thoughts outside of baseball. Exactly.
And he's ugly as hell, too. He looks like Clint Howard.
Oh,
like,
hey.
It's okay.
Whoa. No.
You're not going there.
disagree. I'm going to kiss him right on the mouth.
Do you think he's baseball handsome? Okay, all right, we'll see. We'll hold you to that. All right, I might put up a poll later on. I don't agree with you at all.
Oh, I'd love to see the results. Yes.
All right, next up, and something that's surprised the hell out of me this year. I was hopeful for it last year when Chris Getz came in and said, "Well, we're gonna improve this defense," and then the White Sox defense was still right at the bottom. Is the much improved White Sox defense this year? The White Sox, I checked out efficiency on Baseball Reference, and last time I checked, they were top 8, and I checked this morning, they're top 7. I believe it's a defensive run save, doesn't love them as much, but outs above average likes the White Sox defense. Thinks they're top 10, 11 defense. It just looks better than it's looked before. What do you think some of the differences are from watching this Optimist?
I gotta chalk this up to small sample size, dude. I still see us kicking it around. Lenny's doing stupid shit. Vaughn is Vaughn. Tice is throwing the ball a little bit around. Yep. I think by virtue of swapping Michael Taylor for Andrew Benintendi, you're going to get a boost. Vargas is definitely better, no doubt about it. He's really
improved
good
individually. Yeah,
he's got those hop throws down pretty well. It's nice to know that they're fucking practicing something. The ones that bounce off the infield.
Yeah. Using the grass too. Yeah, absolutely.
I think Meidroth is clearly a second baseman. That's where I'm at with him, and I hope the organization is on the same page there. I think they are, just given how much they love Colson. I think swapping Tice for Maldonado too is also just like Maldonado was dog shit last year.
Cooked, yeah.
And again, we're talking not a lot of innings here, but that's why I'm not really believing this a ton. Maybe the positioning is better, and that's like a quick fix. That's totally possible. But as it relates to what I'm seeing on the field, and there's going to be so much changed around too with personnel. It's like I'm not ready to call us the Brewers yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's some of it. Maybe they're just hitting the ball right at us. It could be dumb luck. Right?
That's what I'm saying, man. It could just be dumb luck.
I mean, I do agree with you that even just changing out the corner outfield spots, getting Benny off there and getting, Gavin Sheets or whoever would have been playing right field for any of the athletes that they've been running through right field, they've been kind of been a conveyor belt there too. Seems like a big improvement. Yeah, Vargas, obviously, Meidroth, they played him at short on Saturday, but that's because Martin Perez throws a lot of fly balls. So fine, you get away with that when you're not going to hit a lot of ground balls. But then they slid him over there when they hit for everyone late in the innings on Sunday, and he looked a little rough. He looked a little overmatched at shortstop.
Overmatched is exactly how I put it. Like his range is not built for shortstop at all. And this is coming from the perspective of somebody like when I was a shortstop growing up. I went to go play college as a shortstop, and very quickly they're like, "We got to move you somewhere else, dog. You gotta go third base.
This dream's over."
Very much. That's a tough fucking mission, man. There's just so much to cover, and you got to have a cannon too if you get in the hole.
Right? Yeah. It helps to have a huge arm.
I will say the other thing, I am very afraid. Vaughn on these stretches, even the routine ones, man, he's going to break himself. Are you noticing this too?
Yeah, he's given a lot of extra effort this year, but he's really almost getting down in the splits. And they played Lenin over at first for a game or a couple innings or whatever, and I was just watching him from our seats, and we're like, that looks so much more natural because he's taller. He's a real 6 foot. It's like, okay, I can make a normal stretch. It doesn't look like he's going to die over there,
Dude, Andy scares me every stretch.
I mean, that was some of the, talking to Ian Eskridge and some of the Future Sox guys. Ian's like, that's reason enough to give Tim Elko a shot here because he's 6'4", 6'5", and gloves it better than Vaughn does. And, if Vaughn's not ever going to hit, put this guy up here and let's see what happens.
Is he supposed to be even a remotely decent defender?
No, not really. But they were just like, he's just an average-ish first base defender.
Fine, that's totally fine.
See, but Vaughn has been a rough one. He just hasn't. He has no range. And the saddest stuff is like we got used to Jose Abreu being able to go back and catch those pop-ups kind of down the right field line. And Vaughn, I don't know if Vaughn's scared of the stands or what, but it seems like he never gets to any of those balls. I don't know if he's terrified or what's going on there. But anyway, this whole thing, this whole rebuild 7.0 or whatever it is basically built on young arms. I'm going to give you 3 guys. Optimist, Grant Taylor, Hagen Smith, Noah Schultz. I need to know who you are the most optimistic about out of this 3 and why.
I mean, it's a layup to be optimistic about all 3 of these fucking guys. So it's more in my nature as a response to this question to think about what is even wrong with these 3 dudes, where they might have some shortcomings in their profile right now. I wanted to go Taylor because I've been worried about Schultz's, how they've been so reserved in stretching him out since they've drafted him. It just scares me. The way they're handling him just scares me a little bit. They certainly didn't handle Crochet this way. And granted, he also then subsequently faced injuries. But it doesn't seem like I'm just scared about his durability, generally speaking. He's stretching out a little bit more this year. He's the same dominant self. In terms of the upside, I think it's pretty clear he's got the most upside. Mm-hmm. Hagen Smith has had some issues with finding the zone. He had a tough spring. He had a really tough last outing, unless maybe he had a more recent one. But the last one I saw, I don't think he got out of the first inning. Did you see that somewhere?
No, I didn't see that. No.
Yeah,
I saw the outing. I think it was his first outing when he had 10 Ks, but he also had the 4 walks. I mean, he was all over the place in the first.
Right.
Inning.
Absolutely. Yeah. So him finding the zone scares me a little bit. So I wanted to go Grant Taylor, and then I went sniffing around Grant Taylor's page, and I know all about his offerings and whatnot. I did not realize how little he has thrown as a professional. Right. He's thrown like 50 innings or something, dude.
Yeah. Yep.
So I have a lot of apprehension about getting behind him too. I will go Schultz just because there's no question about his arsenal. You know, it could play in the major leagues probably right now as a reliever if the Sox wanted to push him that way. Hagen Smith probably too. Honestly, all three of them could probably do it as a reliever. I guess I'll just bet on Schultz's upside because the other two, their issues are a little bit scarier. But I still think Hagen Smith is like at worst a 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on Schultz, especially because they always say, with these huge guys, hard to get their mechanics down, but he's been a strike thrower since the second they got him in the door, and they don't hit him out of the park either. So like the other day, I think he gave up 4 runs and it was like 7 or 8 hits, but it doesn't seem like anyone hit the ball that hard. Like even if they can, get a bat on, it doesn't seem like they hit him very hard, and he throws a ton of strikes. I mean, that feels like half the battle starting out with a huge guy like that. There's
plenty of reason to believe. I mean, he fits the perfect mold of like the type of guy that succeeds in our organization. Like the one avenue that we're pretty decent at developing guys is the prototype. It's Noah Schultz, although maybe it's just stretched out a little bit more. But there's no reason to believe all 3 of these guys aren't in the rotation when we're good. That seems like a fantasy to even say out loud.
But they could be in there next year. I mean, I wouldn't count on all that to work exactly right. And I think they're still trying to figure out a lot of stuff with some of these guys, and so they may not rush anyone. But when you look at it, it's like they're not that far away. These guys are all in Birmingham. How stretched out they get is going to be kind of whatever leads into next year.
Stone had mentioned on the telecast the other day that we might see, he said pretty explicitly that we might see Smith and Schultz in the bigs this year. And I was like, damn, that is very aggressive. But he would know, right?
Yeah. And I think Banny likes to do the thing where he puts the guys in the bullpen and sees an inning or 2 at a time from them young guys. He did that with Iriarte last year, and
we will need one other guy some help. We will need some help for sure. So that makes perfect sense. And really, like, I wonder if, we talked about Shane Smith's workload, if he does eventually end up there in the back half of the year. I don't know who would be covering starts. It's going to be something we need to address, maybe with deals,
Yeah, absolutely. No, they got real thin after everyone needed Tommy John surgery in this past offseason, or this past spring, by the way. We got to go there because I saw you on Twitter the other day, and you are dogging John Schriffen. Now, that doesn't make you unique. A lot of people dog John Schriffen. But then I saw you tweet. You made a suggestion that you would put Connor McKnight in his place. Are you serious? The Beefle needs to know if you're serious about this. Go ahead.
Yeah, without question. But that's not even like I mean, McKnight is fine. McKnight is like an AI rendering of a play-by-play guy, pretty much. Like
that's what I was going to say. He's as boring as a bowl of oatmeal, is what I was going to basically say there. He's smart. Don't get me wrong. Like nothing, but it's just like kind of right down the fairway, baseball.
I love Stone. Always been a Stone guy. I know Stone steps out of his lane sometimes, says some funny shit that people take issue with. I have never taken issue with Steve Stone. My grandmother was a Cubs fan. It was the 90s. I grew up, frankly, up until the kids can play. I was watching like Brian McRae and Sean Dunston with my grandma. Sure. And my earliest baseball education was via Steve Stone. I'm going to fucking cry his last telecast. I know I will. So, frankly, my perfect play-by-play guy is a guy that just sets it up for Stone at this point. I don't know what that looks like in the future, but yeah, he beats John, dude. I'm sorry. So wait, to be clear, you're a Schrift man.
No, not really. Like I think he catches a lot of shit, and now he stepped in it a bunch. So, but I think there became a level of everyone was mad at the organization. He's going to be the punching bag for this thing, and like I think as far as like where he hurts himself is that he's not a baseball-y guy, and baseball people are used to traditional baseball people. Now he has the chops to do the shit because obviously he announces every other sport. But what it is you see that you make that face. But then why are you getting employed everywhere else? This is the whole selling point of why Jason Benetti's so great. Oh, he does all these other sports and all this shit. This guy does too. But what you're switching around is he's not a baseball traditionalist. He didn't do 10 years in the minors, and that's what a lot of people kind of don't like about him. So I think from a standpoint of entertainment value, I think John's fine. He's got to clean up some stuff. But I wouldn't call myself like a Schriffen guy or anything. I don't really. I like Benetti a lot. And then I listened to like a couple innings, Optimist, of him in Detroit, and I'm like, he stinks without Stoney. I was so sad to hear it. I was like, this is terrible. I was listening to like 3 innings of the Detroit game. I'm like, this is horrible. He needs Stoney so bad.
He did a 10-minute. I was watching the other night too, and he did a 10-minute thing. You know, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, like the band from the 70s.
Yeah,
He did a fucking 10-minute segment connecting different Tigers players named Emerson, Lake, and Dean Palmer. Yeah. And nobody was really responding. I think it's Kirk Gibson next to him, right?
Yeah, I feel like it rotates because I think Craig Monroe got in trouble for doing some stuff last year, and they had to jettison him. But I think they've been using a couple guys. Yeah,
whoever is with him was just like kind of giving him the old like, "How you come up with this stuff, Jason?" Just like not really playing into it at all. And it's funny when I was for everybody to know, he lets me take a peek at the questions early before we do this. And the way you had worded this was fucking cracking me up because you're like, I see you taking shots at Schriffen. You think you're unique? To me, that read is like, I see you talking about John. You think you're fucking funny, motherfucker?
It was to set it up. So I was trying to push the outrage on Connor. Not that I have any outrage on Connor, but I was going to let you. I thought you were going to say, "Oh, he's great" or whatever. Then I was going to pound you, but you didn't. So I was like, you didn't set me up, Optimist. You're good. You kept yourself nice and tight. I could have buried you, but I did because you didn't leave me nothing. You know.
Here's the thing: we fall exactly on the same square as it relates to Schrift, which is like he says, let's say he says 2 boneheaded things a month.
Yeah.
Can you imagine throwing us up there? How much dumb shit we would say?
My goodness,
much more than 20. And he's not even saying anything problematic necessarily. Like Hawk was talking about his hemorrhoids. Hawk called Asian players tricky Orientals.
Yes, I remember the late stage Hawk was saying some problems.
Yeah. So I listen. I forgive John for his sins. I know he's trying so fucking hard. I know he cares about this job.
Yeah.
For me, it's you claim that he's got the pedigree. For me, that's just frankly what he's lacking. He's lacking in that department. I don't hate him. I see people, and I agree with you. It's reached a level where it's like, do you want to kick his ass? Like, this is too much.
When he steps in, it's the usual suspects out there. It's the Jeff Agrest guy from the Sun-Times. Shane Reardon can't wait to jump on him. I'm like, he says something wrong. I'm like, here they come. I know who's coming to yell at this guy. And it's pure entertainment for me. Like, I don't really have a side. I like John. I actually saw John after the game. Treasy and I are Court and Carey. And he came by and he stopped. We were like, oh, what a great game, blah, blah, blah. Talked for 2 minutes. And he was on his way. He's a hell of a nice guy. But, yeah, he steps in it sometimes. And they're going to come after him. Which I guess, in a way, you like that. You want some response of the thing, right?
Shane unblocked me the other day. And what a gift it was when I realized that happened.
Beautiful. Let's get to the string. Nathan Sheba says, well, I think play-by-play discussion is important. Having not been a game in 2 years until Saturday, when did friggin' beers become $20? Oh, my God. Nathan, they gouge us. That's why they had to give the season ticket holders, we have 20% off of concessions because beers have gotten outrageous in price. It's just like incredible. The only good night is Tuesday night when we get the $5 beers, and those are the smaller ones. Those are only the I think the 12-ounce pours or whatever. But yeah, it's brutal, Nathan.
I go to Dodgers games, man. You can imagine what those fucking beers cost. Dude, ridiculous. Anaheim has $4 cans every day.
Yeah, my Sox number told us from way back in the day, he's like, yeah, they always had low cost options. You can get something at least for a cheaper price. The Sox need to start doing that, man. Just incorporate a little bit of that. People pay for their premium beers and they have the craft cave and all that shit. You know, leave a PBR for $5 or whatever the fuck. Something people can have. You know, like what the hell? All right, Optimist, I want to jump off of the White Sox for a second. I want to talk about something near and dear to my heart, which is the 108 tourney.
Hell yeah, baby.
And how your voting videos have become goddamn legendary. They're a personal favorite of mine. I'm looking forward to them in the middle of the day. It cracks me up because the videos are great, but you're smoking a doob. It's like 2:00 your time. I'm like, what does this man do for a living? Are you independently wealthy? Are you independently wealthy and you got abs like that? Because
get out of here.
Twitter,
I'll close the fucking laptop. I see that picture again.
All right. You got it. How'd you come up with the videos and why are they such a big hit?
Let me be very clear. I'm not independently wealthy. My old man was a steel worker, Bethlehem Steel, 45 years.
Nice.
Union steel worker. My mother was a teacher. So no, I'm not independently wealthy. I work in the music business. And this tends to help with that a little bit.
There you go.
You ever heard of Jimi Hendrix?
Get that creativeness flowing. I get it.
Mm-hmm. Was the question, how did I start doing this?
Yeah, I just started doing the videos, the voting videos. Yeah.
I think it was probably like a credit to you, buddy. I think I probably saw, and I started doing them like 4 years ago, I think. I don't know when people started paying attention necessarily. But I think I probably just saw a bunch of awesome fucking matchups that you had lined up. And I was going through them one by one and in my head thinking like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. And you probably stacked some rad matchups. And I was like, I just turn on the fucking camera. There was no purpose to it. Truly. I think I probably wanted in on the fun a little bit. I saw everybody making content and probably for the first couple of years, much like a lot of people's content, nobody watched it or paid attention to it. But like, then I would have easily stopped, particularly when I had to get a blue check mark to keep making videos.
Oh yeah.
And then you guys robbed me of a victory, even though I bought a blue check mark.
We're gonna get to that in a second. We will get to that in a second.
Yeah, but I would have gladly stopped, but then a few people would chime in, particularly Luke, my fucking guy, would be like, I love these, keep making them. And once I took on that responsibility, even like a couple people, it was like, well, now I gotta always do it. But I do, there have been circumstances too, where it's like, this is not a day where I should be getting stoned. I am buried in work. There's like licensing issues, all sorts of shit. And I have to drag my ass back to my desk over there and then try to save face because of you guys.
Well, I mean, as you can see, everyone loves them, and people wait for them. We're waiting for you to come through. It's late afternoon. The workday's ending for us here. You're in the afternoon. You're like, all right, I'm gonna throw this out there, and people are like, and I got a feeling because I can't like, I don't think you went against me too much when I was still in the tournament. I've been retired from the tournament, but it's got to be soul crushing to wait for the video and then you vote against the person.
I think about that.
If you're kind of friendly with them, you're like, but no, that's what the 108 tourney needs to be about. Is friends can be voting against each other. That's the way it works.
I've said at least a half dozen things that, I do them in one take. You can pretty much see that. I just kind of roll through them real quick. And many times after I posted, I was like, oh my God, did I just fucking say that about that person? Like, I feel terrible about that. Nobody, I get plenty of shit. I'm in a different argument every day on Twitter. But nobody has gotten too bent out of shape by anything I've said in those videos. Thank God. That's
good. I'm glad they take it for what it is, that it's fun content. I enjoy it. I hope you keep doing
it. It's not meant to be serious, truly.
Exactly. I'm hopeful you continue doing it when we have it next year. I was realizing next year will be the 9th year, and the year after that will be 10 years that we've done one-way tourney. It almost feels like I'll be almost 50. I shouldn't be doing dumb stuff like that on the internet, but I don't think I'll stop. So I'm not going to keep it going.
Described, people are counting on you now, and you're going to be doing it to the day you die.
I got to stay in there. Exactly. Nothing wrong. Now, I did want to bring this up, since you brought it up already. Rumor has it you're still holding a grudge against Treasy for his ruling in the 2024 108 tourney against you. What happened? What did Treasy do to you?
Do you know how hard it is to beat a woman in this fucking tournament?
I do know.
Do you know how hard it is to beat an attractive woman in this tournament? Shout out Jackie.
Yeah.
He's going to fucking rob me of that. Now, here's the thing. Teresi very quickly browsed the results of that matchup. If people are forgetting, and I'm sure they are, because the only people still thinking about this are probably you and me.
Yes.
I caught a tailwind at about 4 p.m. and I blazed past Jackie in a very close matchup between, I thought, two evenly matched opponents. I thought Teresi would see it the same way. I guess he didn't. And he said that's clearly a result of bots, which, I'm sitting here going, excuse me? The ironic part is, here's the ironic part, and I must come clean. I really pride myself on being an elite Cubs hater. When you think of Cubs haters on Twitter, I want to come to mind. I want to come to mind.
Yep.
This is half the reason why I'm engaging in all these fights for no reason. You're probably looking at my account going, why is he arguing with some of your 20 fucking followers? It's because if it's a Cubs fan, I just cannot take that bait. I'm sorry.
You gotta keep the street cred up. I love it.
Here's how I beat Jackie, though. And it was currying favor from Cubs fans. That's simply put. I could spin it in a way where I am proud of myself at the end of the day, but frankly, I'm not proud of myself. That's why I'm bringing it up. It was my friend Obvious Shirts. I grew up playing ball with Joe. Great dude. Regardless of what fucking my Sox Summer has to say about him, frankly.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
But no, he prompted his followers to throw me some votes, and that was the cause of the surge.
Yeah. Yep.
I think plenty of people told you that. Sorry, I got weed whacker going outside right now. But that's I got a little grudge with my man, and I would love to have a discussion with him, perhaps soon in person at the park.
I mean, that would be great. I think you should. And after further review, the realization came to it. But in the heat of the moment, Optimist, sometimes we got to make a split decision. There's a game's going to go the next day. We got to make sure we get stuff done. And we're under a lot of pressure with the tournament. All right, we're under a lot of pressure.
Why you're saying we? This has nothing to do with you. This is Teresi. This is you covering for your man.
I got to back my little brother. That's my little brother. I got to back him up. So I got to say. But he did come clean to you though on a show this year, and he said that he would have looked the other way had you had a botted match. If you would have shot past someone in a bot, he would have looked the other way. He said he's leaving out for 2026. So just so you know, this year you're okay.
No Cub fans lined up behind me this year, and honestly, I can feel just fine about that
too. You mentioned MSS fighting with your guy, Obvious Shirts. They had a little dust up. I don't think it was that big of a deal at first. It was MSS pointing out something that he's sensitive about. So I got his back. It's like, okay, I get it. And in a way, you work in arts, we consider 108 stuff is our art. Mm-hmm. And obviously Joe runs a company that has art. And so that's why I think initially he was like, oh, okay, I see your point kind of. He didn't intend it in that way or whatever and kind of backed off it. But the fact that even after the main point was over, those two kept sparring because they couldn't get enough of each other. One of them hits for no reason, and then another one bouncing back. I was extremely entertained by that part. It was like, you guys already settled this. That this is fine. You agree. And then now you're still fighting 2 days later.
Behind the scenes, brother, Joe is texting me, and he goes, what is with this fucking guy? Joe being Obvious Shirts. Yeah. And I know my Sox Summers brand a little bit. We've talked a little bit over the years. He sent me a Jimmy Buffett White Sox hat, which is one of my favorite fucking things in the world. And I was trying to talk Joe down a little bit, be like, I see the point he's making. I think we can both agree with the point that he's making. It's not, I don't think it's best fit for necessarily what you're creating with Obvious Shirts. I was trying to just get him to walk away from the situation, frankly, because his audience is fucking gigantic. He doesn't need to get worked up about this, frankly, for you. Just kidding.
That's fair. That's fair. Until we get to that size, then that's fair enough. I appreciate it.
You had kind of said over the course of the night, you thought it had died out and then it'd rear back. That's what was going on. And then it would pop back up. That's what's going on with my text too, because Joe would find a new reason, just be like, no, fuck him. And I was like, Joe, just let it go, buddy. But that's exactly how it was playing out on Twitter. And I hope they found some peace, because I really like both quite a bit.
It's so funny. Behind the scenes, we were like, it's a great game. I'm like, I would feel like we're not Cubs guys, but we're like, the Obvious Shirts guy, he's got a fucking great idea, man. We should do some shit like what he's doing. And he did a thing a couple years ago where he made a Sox shirt, and then he I don't want to say tricked, he coerced some of the brands to promote it for him. And we were like, hang on, we ain't doing that. I see, we sell t-shirts too, man. I see what they're doing here. And we were like, not mad at him. We were mad at what a great idea that fucking was. I can't believe he got away with that shit. So he's a sharp guy. There's no question about it. But afterwards we were just like, MSS, it's not that big of a deal anymore. You were right. Just walk away from this fucking thing. but he couldn't stop.
Was he actually worked up about it, or was he like, just picking a little, just stirring the pot?
He was initially he was good, but then it was like coming at us for like weird stuff, and he's like, "Oh, fuck that, that's not true." You know, I was like, "Dude, just relax, it's over. This shit is over with, man. No worries." You know.
Sometimes these things are good. We needn't litigate too much because it's just like, I'm glad it happened in the end.
We need these dust up once in a while. Yeah. Jason Wagner, yes, we did talk about you earlier. Jason, appreciate you. Thanks for the drink.
We were talking about when you made that picture that made it look like you had a boner.
Oh gosh, man, that was quite a. My goodness, I hope for your wife you are that well endowed. Last thing, too. Yes, son, I know he is. Last thing, is Ken WO still following you on Twitter?
Man, what the fuck? I have gone to bat with this man so much over the years. He's another one where it's like, this is the internet, man. Why do you actually want to fight this guy? People get very pissed about Ken. And I think much like what we're talking about, like these spats, we're sitting back here like cackling in the peanut gallery as they go on because it's part of what enriches this ecosystem. You know what I mean? Like if we were all just, the White Sox Twitter is elite. Everybody knows that. And it has to do with these sort of daily wars a little bit.
Of course.
And Ken is like the oil that keeps the engine running, dog.
For sure.
Why would you ever want him to leave the ecosystem? Or, I mean, listen, people want to argue with him about baseball, about bullshit. That's fucking outstanding. But like, people act like he shouldn't exist. And it's like, this place would be so much more boring if he didn't exist, which is all to say, like, I don't know why I'm going to bat for him yet again, because he followed me for 5 minutes. Who did you have him up against? There was no way I could have voted for him.
I forgot, but you voted the bat. It might have been against Kurt losing ugly. It might have been that matchup.
That is a dude that I have sat next to and shared beers with and watched baseball with. I'm fucking sorry, Ken. What do you want from me? I'll continue to go bat for you. I think as an idea, Ken WO. Ken WO. I call him Ken WO. I don't think.
Yeah, the old school guys call him Ken WO. Yep.
Oh, right on. Call me. Yeah. Well, dude, speaking of, before I forget, this jersey. There's a reason I wore this jersey. It was sent to me, talking about old school White Sox Twitter, by a dude named James, and he had one of the greatest tweets at you to ever exist. I think you guys have patched up your differences. I don't remember the exact wording, but it was like beef loaf, like, are you fucking kidding me, or something like that. He was
that guy. So the guy who was like, what a joke, or whatever, that type of shit.
I wish you knew it offhand because it was like poetry. Dude.
I didn't even block the guy. It was so funny. I was like,
no, it's like,
this guy gets to stay. Like,
he is left White Sox Twitter. I kind of know him. We deal in baseball cards a lot together and just like memorabilia and shit like that. Huge Sox fan, does tweet some out of pocket shit, but he sort of left White Sox Twitter because of this thing. And this, I still see the screenshot pop up every now and it's so good because the frame is just like his face and says like, what a fucking joke or something like that. And I'm trying to get him to come back to White Sox Twitter because like he's another one where it's like he's got good energy for laughs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I might have had that in my profile somewhere, Mrs. Beef.
Dig that back up. It is.
If you get him to come back to Sox Twitter, just let me know. I'm putting him in the 108 tourney. We're gonna see. We see if we can get some run in the tourney. Let's go. Let's do it.
He's a great guy too. Let me be clear. He's a good guy.
And I probably said some dumb shit. I mean, I deserve everything I get on Twitter. That's the way I always feel. I got no hard feelings about any of that shit. Optimist, thanks for sharing your thoughts on Shane Smith, Chase Meidroth, the White Sox improved defense, the Shrift Dog, and your beef with Teresa E. Remember, we ain't trying to be writing the show. We're just trying to understand. Anything you want to plug before you go?
No, dude, I got nothing to plug. That wasn't on the prep sheet. I have absolutely nothing going on over here. I'm smoking weed every day. You kidding me? I'm watching White Sox baseball.
Loving it. Part of the West Coast contingent. Optimist, thanks so much for coming on. Appreciate you, bro.
Good to see you, man. Thank you.
Take care. That was Sox Optimist. That was amazing. What a great guest. Next week's Au Jus, first time, long time, I'm going to have Ryan McGuffey join me. I've not talked to Guff on here or even on the 108 podcast. We didn't get in there with him. I'm going to discuss his time doing White Sox Talk podcast with Chuck Garfien, his new venture with David Kaplan, what he thinks of the new build of the White Sox. So I'm really looking forward to that conversation. I saw the chat, and my guy Trapper was in there. He says, hey, Beef, It's me, Trapper. So cool you say my name during Sunday Soak. Thank you so much. Made my birthday very special. You saying that, thanks a lot. Appreciate that. That was my Sox Summer, making sure that we gave you the shout out we were talking about right before then. So appreciate you, Trapper. Be good. Kid, 14th birthday, vodka birthday. We'll get you some vodka. We won't let your dad or the authorities know. So that's it for me. Thanks to Punky's Pizza and Pasta, all the 108 families up in the YouTube comments. Smashing the like button. I appreciate the drinks and tips as well. We'll see you on Thursday for the 108 podcast. Bye, and I love all of you.